Oh my god, welcome to the split hair life, Ellie. Please enjoy your stay.
Hello! Since attempting split hair dye, I have tried an array of different colours now and styles and combinations. I can't seem to get out of this split hair dye world, and since I've been in it, I have had so many questions on how I maintain it, how I achieved certain things, how I got it in the first place, like what colours are best, and there's so many different things people seem to want to know, but the biggest, hands down, the biggest question I get all the time is how do I not let the colours bleed into one another? You know, how do I not get the green into the blonde, or the blue into the blonde, or the pink into the silver, or the green into the blue, or blue into... Blonde is a very ballsy colour to have on one side, if I must say so myself, but it seems to have worked for me. And I thought instead of just addressing that question, I'd address all of the damn questions, because there's so many, so that you have no questions ever again. Ask a question in the comments if maybe this didn't answer a question you had. Let me know if you have split hair dye. What do you think of split hair dye? Have you ever tried it in the past, or are you going to try it in the future? Subscribe to the channel to be notified every time I make a brand new video as well. I also have a psychic circle, spiritual circle online community if you want to hop on board and join us on there. Let's start with my very first introduction into split hair dye. The rules really aren't going to be too dissimilar from normal hair dye rules. Obviously, it's still dyeing your hair. There's a few things that you might want to tweak and change, but ultimately, you're going to want to start off with light hair. You are signing up to looking crazy in the process. Please do not rush. As I said, the rules don't change when you split hair dye your hair. Don't rush the process. For the love of Lord, for the love of God. If you want it to look good, you want it to be a blonde, bright base, and therefore if you have brunette hair or even black hair, if you've dyed your hair in the past before, so you've got loads of build up of different colours underneath that mop, then you need to very slowly lift it to a blonde colour. There's loads of other videos that will tell you that, but don't bleach your hair on a Thursday night at 7 p.m. Wash it by 9 and think, oh my god, it's ginger, how am I going to go to work tomorrow? Just go to work tomorrow, unless your boss is going to hound you for that. Let your hair freaking breathe, otherwise you won't have half and half hair colour. You'll have half a head of scalp and half a head of dried crispy hay. It's a fun story. Though I only attempted half and half hair about 3 years ago now, I actually discovered the very first lady who had half and half on her head about 2015 perhaps. It wasn't fashion colours, it was half brunette and half blonde. She was sitting there at a YouTube conference somewhere in the city, and I just couldn't concentrate on the panel because I was like, is no one seeing this? She should be on stage. So that in itself, I think, goes to show you don't even have to use fashion colours to really make this work. I would advise, if you are nervous and you've got brunette or black hair, for instance, to even just try like a gingery brown with your black, a coppery blonde with your brunette. If you've got blonde hair already, just try brunette on one side, because it's less commitment. I feel like it's less likely to go wrong. It's easier and a bit more approachable for people who maybe have never been fashion colours before. I just think it looks so ace in so many different ways. I haven't been able to stop dyeing my hair split because there are so many colour combinations out there to try. I'm working with the colour wheel anyway all the time when I dye my hair. You know, what's close to red? What can I transition into? Because I don't want to do anything crazy after red, like blue. Having two colours on your hair means you not only get to decide on one side, but the other side. And then there's like, what colour combos will look better? Some colour combos make me look like a sweet, a candy. Some colour combos make me look like a witch. And on that note, that being said, to help decide what colour you want to go in terms of split, please, 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 this may go without saying, but I feel like some people don't do this. Google, research, Instagram, whatever social media you want to try and use to find people with that pre-existing colour combo. Even if it's someone who has like a shred of colour next to another colour, and that combo of colours is what you want in a split hair dye. Even if you can't find anyone with the exact same split hair dye you want, just try and refer to an image that has the two shades that you need together in terms of hair. It is quite shocking anyway, to dye your hair 2 colours and look in that mirror and see what those colours look like together. And I know you can do things such as get a colouring pencil and colour the 2 colours that you need close to each other on a piece of paper. That's a good method to see how those shades will look together, those tones look together. Another method would be actually buying hair dye and using some of the hair, like 2 of the hair dyes that you've bought, to dab on a bit of tissue paper, tissue paper or toilet paper, to see how that color combo looks. But I really don't think anything beats actually visualizing it on someone's head. I was so desperate once trying to find a color combo on someone's head that I really couldn't find. I think it was before anyone did pink and orange, to the point where I had to get an image of myself and go into Photoshop and colour my left side orange and colour my right side pink. You really want to get a real picture of real pink hair and real orange hair. At the end of the day, you don't want to spend all that money, put it on your head, sit in front of the bathroom mirror and just cry because it just doesn't sit right, it doesn't feel right, something about it wasn't what you envisioned. So, another question I get as well is, can you still have half and half if you have a side parting? Does it look weird? And I had the same question, so I don't think that's a stupid question, because it's literally called half and half. But I think the best thing that you can do is do a little dabbling to see if anyone's achieved that same look, because it is possible. I was finding some rare pictures, but I mean, more and more people are doing the hair split hair dye now, so you'll probably have a better, easier time doing that. But I was finding like side partings, half black and red, for instance, and I was like, okay, that's giving me a good idea of like how it looks. And you can even do what I was doing and have a little bit of an edit on your pictures. There's pretty good photo editing apps, to be fair, out there now, which are free, and you can just sort of like get a paintbrush and just go over your right side and go over your left side and just see how it looks. But absolutely you can, and actually I think it looks really cute. There wasn't a part of me that dyed my hair orange and pink when I tried the side parting split hair dye look that regretted it. I would encourage anyone to try it themselves. Why the F not? Maybe have a long think about like the tone, the shade, the deepness, or how pastel something is on the bigger side of your hair, because you're going to have to remember like that bigger chunk is going to be seen more and more prominent, so you might want to put the bright color in the smaller chunk. Maybe think about the fact that if you are in a workplace where they don't allow fashion colors, put the fashion color in the smaller chunks so you can put like the prominent color, like maybe a brunette that you've got in the other side, over it while you're working so it's hidden. I have had a lot of people say to me I could never do split hair dye because I don't suit middle part-ins. I feel like everybody says that, but it's literally down to the fact that you're not used to seeing yourself with a middle part-in, unless you've got like a really prominent forehead, which even if you do, who gives a frick? But if maybe there's like an actual specific reason why you don't suit a middle part-in, other than the fact that you laugh at yourself in the mirror when you see yourself with one because you're not used to it, I really think split hair dye makes you own that. It makes you like rebrand yourself as a middle part-in gal. I used to put my hair in a middle part-in to look like my mum and laugh about it with my sisters. If you really, really wanted split hair dye, just attempt a middle part-in for a week, see how you feel about it, and see if you get used to it. Even if early days you're not comfortable with doing that at work, you can just come home from work and whip your middle part-in back out just to try and get yourself used to it. But honestly, I think if you're dyeing your hair like half and half, that's going to be a big enough shock to people, and that's going to be the talking point, not the point that you've got a middle part-in now. So I think split hair dye will help you rock a middle part-in way more than it would if you just had your normal hair color that you've got now. Speaking of middle part-ins, you will never realize that you can think about a part-in so much in your day-to-day life than you will when doing half and half hair, because I'll be out in the wind, I'll be coming in from like a walk somewhere, I'll be going to visit a friend, and when I get there I'm like, is my part-in okay? Over time you kind of just get used to the fact like it's not the end of the world. Like sometimes my hair, this side of my hair will look super lime green and I won't realize it until I like catch my reflection in like a cafe or something, and I'm like, bloody hell, I look like lemon and lime, but too much lime in my lemon. Basically, you can't always expect it to look exactly perfect at all times. And on that note of perfecting your parting, as I mentioned, you're going to want to get that first application perfecto. Dyeing my hair, believe it or not, is not my favorite activity. Yes, I like having bright hair, but the actual process of spending an evening dyeing my hair is not fun. I don't enjoy. The only part I enjoy is drying it at the end because I get to see the results. Normally what happens is, because it's not a process I enjoy, I sort of like numb out and I just autopilot, just section of my hair, maybe watch something on TV, and I'm just like blah, 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 if I'm just topping up the hair color. But with this, you can't really do that because you're going to need to use a mirror behind you while you're looking into the mirror. I have that full-length mirror over there behind me, which stands behind me when I'm facing the bathroom mirror, so I have a good view of what's happening behind me. There was one time I had a bit of a wonky parting, and then every time I went to top up my half and half hair colour, I had a chunk of blue in the wrong side. I didn't want to put the colour it was supposed to be on top because it would go a weird colour. Basically, you want to start off with a good, nice, precise job, and that makes it easier as well to carry on the top up in the future as well, because if it's a good starting point, then doing your roots comes easier because you haven't got a stupid parting to work with, you don't have any cock-ups to fix or solve. So I would say obviously use that mirror behind you to make sure it's straight, or something that I do, and if you live with anybody, even if it's your brother, you know, a young lad can see a straight line if he really looks for it. Ask anybody in your household to be like, is this parting straight?
Do most people do this on their own? Is this like normal for me to do this all on my own? I underestimated how difficult this would be. I'm thinking I might need help for this. I might have to ask my mum. It's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I've already got a little bit wonky.
I see what you
The
mean.
furthest point. Oh, it's so difficult.
And I don't mean ask them to do the whole lot unless you're lucky enough to have someone do that for you, which, amazing, well done, you win at life. But you can even get your partner, your parent, your housemate, sibling to just get the Tintin brush. And you're gonna need, by the way, that's another thing. Do you need a Tintin brush for this? Abso-freaking-lutely. Not particularly foils or anything like that, just a Tintin brush. They're fairly cheap. I think I use like a pound shop one. If you can, ask someone just to start the line. Like you're not going to be able to see your parting as prominently because it just looks blonde. Everything's blonde, so it all kind of blurs into one. Like where's my scalp? Like where's the parting and where's the line to that right bit and to the left bit? You can't see a line when your hair's bleach blonde. Like it's just very difficult.
Thanks, Mum. This side will be a lot easier because I can actually see where the parting ends this time, because before it was just a load of blonde hair and it was stressing me out. Here goes.
I have done it on my own before, it is possible, but the first time is probably you're gonna feel a little bit anxious, so you can also just do it yourself and just ask for someone's like approval, like how does this look, I'm about to dye this, maybe freak them out a little bit and give them a little bit of a fear factor of like, if this doesn't look good, it's your fault. At the end of the day, it is not the end of the world, because if it does go on the wrong side, you can always just bleach that colour off next time you're dyeing your hair. It's really not the end of the world. But I will say, if you're dealing with colours like, for instance, I had yellow and pink at one point, when deciding on what colour goes on first, I seem to do the colour that's like easiest to work with. I would always do blue last. I would stick to things like reds first, yellows definitely first, green I would do first. Ultimately, the darker, the deeper, the stronger, the more depth a colour has, the more you're going to want to do that last. So, the big question. You've dyed your hair half and half for the first time. You're about to wash it off. How do you get the vibrancy kept on the right side with no bleeding? And it really just boils down to the same cold water. For me, I have to go to my boiler and actually turn off the hot water in the house. Whatever works for you, I just want it off to like not tempt me at all. And a lot of people say, can you not just go lukewarm? If I'm gonna do it, I want to do it because I go on cold water swims. There's a lot of scientific evidence about how cold showers and baths are really good for your mental health. It's very zesty in the morning and it does wake you up, I'm not gonna lie. You do get used to it. At first it's like, you're screaming through the hair dye, and then all of a sudden you kind of regulate. Like I was literally doing it earlier, butt naked, and I wasn't even shivering. We are in the middle of a heat wave right now though. But what the cold water basically does is that it doesn't open up your follicles as much and therefore let the hair dye run through. You'll notice in the water that a lot of your hair dye colour isn't in the water, which goes down the plug hole, in comparison to what it would have been if it was warm. You'll definitely notice that. When I dye my hair, I get that side done and put it up in bunches. I might even do a little bun and keep it like that. And then when I've done this side, I'll put it in bunches, put it in a little bun, whatever. And I'll just let my hair dye and do its job. And just sometimes I'll go with hair dye on my head for 4 hours around the house. Then when you go to wash it, don't take them both out. My advice would be, yes, you do have to sometimes shampoo and even condition sometimes, but I've noticed that's not as important. Your hair separately divided. It's not as hard as people think. Like when I seem to say that to people, they almost look like I've just told them that I have to skin myself alive in order to wash my hair. I literally have my head over the basin, shower, whatever, the sink, and I do this. That is it, guys. I just do this. So this side is all coming down on the sink and I got that side up in the bun and I just shoo, 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 shoo. Shampoo, 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 shoo. Sometimes condition it on its own as well. I will do that on the first wash, probs. Though I will say, dye your hair with fashion colours when your hair is freshly washed. So wash your hair on the Friday and then on Saturday night dye your hair red, green, blue, whatever it is. So that way when you've put dye on your head, you then don't need to shampoo and condition because you shampooed and conditioned the night before. Because what's gonna make that beautiful new colour run out is shampoo. Yes, you might be a greasy girl and you get greasy hair quick, but just try and prolong that hair wash for as much as possible. And on that note, please just wash your hair as minimally as humanly possible for you. Really work your schedule around your hair in life. I know that sounds a bit dramatic, but like if you're not going out and you don't need your hair to look really shiny and perfect, just stay away from washing it. If you want to keep a vibrant hair color, you're going to need to wash your hair like once a week. My hair gets oily very, very quickly until I started dyeing my hair all these fashion colors, because what I'm basically doing is drying out my hair. When I bleach my hair to put the color on, I'm stripping my hair from natural oils, so it means that my hair stays drier for longer. So that means I don't wash my hair on a Thursday evening, go to bed and wake up with greasy hair on Friday. And that literally used to happen to me. It was a nightmare, but that doesn't happen to me anymore. Dry shampoo is going to be a freaking godsend for that, by the way. I love talcum powder. You can just use baby powder. Like, there's loads of different types of dry shampoo out there. Just use anything that your hair is going to soak up in order for the oils to F off. Obviously, you're washing your hair separate to your body, so it's not as unbearable when it's just on your head. Having cold water showers is more of a shock when it's like on your whole body. Obviously, I would always wash my colour first. So if I'm half blonde and half colour, I want to wash this side off so it's all going down the plug hole, it's all getting out its system away from this blonde, and then when it's done I can tie it up and now I'm on my blonde section, because I feel like the hardest bit is the bright colour of the blonde. Nothing comes out, so I'm just like, yeah, this side's easier, don't have to think about as much. Yes, granted, when you are washing your hair, obviously you've got to use your fingers to like work out where the parting starts and stops so that you're not shampooing green into this blonde, because you're not just going to go like this, you're going to be like running your fingers along that parting like that. Have I had any problems with blonde getting bled on at all? Not really, though. Like I said, sometimes I'll be out somewhere and I'll look at myself in the reflection and be like, oh, there is a blue hue on my blonde today, or oh, my blonde's looking a little bit coppery because the pink has washed a little bit onto this side. It doesn't always last. If there's just a little bit of a tint or a tinge or a kind of pastel, like just a bit of a tone going on over the next wash, it's likely to kind of fade over time and it's not a big of a deal. However, obviously if you've got like blue and green going on or purple and pink going on, it's a lot harder to deal with that, I think. Ironically, you'd think that blonde would be very hard, but actually like the tones will start fading Whereas if you start bleeding purple into pink, for instance, it's going to mess up with like the tone and the vibrancy. But I've never really had an issue with that. I think the lighter you can get your hair to be before you're putting the colour on, the less you're going to have an issue with bleeding actually like properly affecting your hair, because your hair's going to be so like prominent and strong in that colour that anything interfering with it isn't going to impact it as much. But honestly, just keep the cold water and keep your head to the side and wash it separately, and you really don't get that much of an issue. If anything does happen, then weeks will go by, and when you have to redo your hair again, just put a fresh lot of pink on top, and it should go back towards the colour that you were before. It's really not the end of the world if like your purple turns a little bit blue because you've mixed it or something. Over time, you might want to stress a lot less about keeping your hair in two separate bunches and washing this side and then washing that side. And by the way, when you do that, your parting doesn't have to be like perfection. I'll just like quickly do a part in for a hair wash. Like, it's not the same exact line. You probably will get the same like a similar kind of line anyway, but don't stress as much about that. Every hair color is different in terms of how long is enough time to go by before you can just wash your hair with like less stress about keeping each side on their own side. For instance, I've washed my hair now 3 times. By my 4th wash, I'm keeping my hair somewhat split. I mean, I hold my head over the basin and it won't be up in bunches or anything, but because my hair's always in a parting, naturally it's going to kind of fall into their own sides anyway. So I'm just sort of like, it's not like I'm going like this entirely and going to town as I would if I just had one colour on, but I'm not like going really carefully along the parting. I'm just sort of like doing this and doing a bit of this, like green's on this hand, green's not on that side, and I'm just like washing it off, and then all together just going do 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 do, and the hair's sort of like falling to their own sides, if that makes sense. Basically what's happening is less and less hair color, fashion color, is going to be coming out of your hair when you've washed it a few times, because at the end of like the month or something, your hair's just going to be stained somewhat permanently now, so nothing's falling out for it to bleed on this side anyway, if that makes sense. If you are someone who really loves their hair wash and they love warm water and they don't want to have to hassle, and you're very you're low maintenance and you can't deal with that life, then I would suggest you dye your hair a fashion color which is going to stain, so that you can just jump in the shower and wash it like in a warm shower. And just when I had blonde and blue hair, I was having baths and I could jump in the shower and it'd be hot and I was washing it all over like this, and I just didn't care about if it was bleeding, because over time, like 3 weeks into having blue hair, it was all just stained blue. Nothing was coming out when I was washing it anymore. It was just stained and it was stuck. Like, blue is very hardy. It's stubborn as hell and it will just stick to your hair. You're gonna wanna go a color like blue and blonde maybe, or even purple and blue would work well, because I think they're quite stubborn colors that will just kind of tone down a little bit. Obviously things like black and maybe red won't be as, yeah, black and red I would guess over time should be fine. Pink will fade. The entire time I had pink and silver, I was always keeping them in bunches when washing that. So just to bear in mind that every color is going to be a little bit different, and you're probably going to learn that over time of experimentation. But let me know in the comments what color you want to be, and if you've got any questions about specific colors, and I'll let you know what you have to kind of keep an eye out for with that particular combination. And while you're washing your hair, I would suggest that you only shampoo it once. When I don't have a colour on my head that I'm trying to protect, I usually shampoo my hair twice. I just feel like it keeps it from being greasy longer. But if you want to protect the colour you've got, just do a little quick little shampoo, like sometimes as well when I haven't got a colour that I'm trying to protect on my head, I'll put shampoo on my hair while shaving my, and then I'll shave my legs while the shampoo sat on my hair. But I won't do that if I'm trying to keep colour in, because I need a quick wash, put the shampoo on, wash it off, because that will keep it looking more vibrant for longer too. And in that same way, obviously I wouldn't suggest that you keep shampoo sitting on this hair while you then work on that side of the hair. Do this side, finish the side, then do this side, finish this side. In terms of conditioner though, I've not found it to be an issue conditioning colours together. So I'll just take the conditioner and go like that, have a little quick rummage on the ends. You don't need conditioner on the top, and then rinse that out. And I've never had issue of bleeding if it's just conditioner, because conditioner is just putting a little bit of like oil in your hair, right? It's not really like releasing anything to be bled. I might still condition separately on the first 2 washes though, even one. If I am going to enjoy any part of hair dyeing, it's the very first time I try a new color, because that's exciting. I've never seen it on my head. Whereas topping something up basically involves probably a root job as well. So you're going to want to bleach your roots as you would any other hair color. So you section it off. I've got a whole video on how you dye your roots if you're interested in how you bleach your roots, sorry, if you're interested in that. And you do the whole process over again as you did the first time. Make sure your parting's really straight. Hopefully the last time you did that means that it's all good and you're not going to have any wrong colors on the wrong side or anything, because the parting is still kind of there and straight and great and gravy. While the bleach is out and you're doing your roots, you may just want to check to see if maybe you've got some green on your blonde sides. You can just bleach it out, or you've got, you know, a bit here that like stained a weird color because it bled once in the shower by accident. Maybe just bleach out some of that. Just go over any kind of imperfections that built up over time, and then you're going to be left with bright bleached roots, hopefully. Make sure they're not proper blonde roots, because that means when you put red on, for instance, on your red side of your head, you're going to have really bright roots and darker red hair. So try and get it to match the undertone that you want. The very last note I will add is to prepare for difficulty when deciding what to wear. Something I have noticed about split hair dye is that it does make outfits particularly hard, because not only are you working with one fashion color such as green, you might have another fashion color such as pink on the other side, and that's a whole different ball game in comparison to what difficulty you might experience from just having all pink hair. With blonde, in my situation, it means that I just work with the color that I've got on the other side. So I'm wearing a bit of green on my top, a bit of green makeup. If I had pink on this side though, you probably want to pick like accents or like accessories or belts that are pink to go with something that has green. Like you become a little bit of a gokwan. You have to really work your head around outfits. That will be a bit of a struggle, but it kind of makes up for it because makeup becomes fun. With split hair dye, you can do really cool things like having a green eyebrow on the side that you're pink, with a pink eyebrow on the side that you're green. You can have like two-toned eyes, so you might want to do like pink on this eye and green on this eye if you've got pink and green hair, helping this color come out and stand out by doing really bright, obnoxious green eyeshadows. So go and find a palette that has the exact same purple and blue shades that you have, and then do either like 2 different colors on your eyes, so like a purple and blue look on both eyes, a really popping bright blue color, so then it brings out this side. It's really interesting what kind of illusions you can create with the makeup that you do when you have split hair dye, because you can bring out a color or a shade a little bit more, or even tone it down by having very bright makeup on. You might even find that your eye color suits your hair color really well. Say you've got blue eyes and blue hair on one side. If you're putting a color on your eyelids which isn't blue, it makes your eye color pop out, which will match the blue on your left side really well, for instance. So that's everything I have to say. Sorry I spoke your ear off. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you've got any more questions, please do feel free to let me know in the comment section, or if you see someone else asking a question and you know the answer, help each other out. Sending loads of love from my house to yours. Subscribe to the channel to be notified every time I make a brand new video. I'm on social media such as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and I've got a spiritual circle online community if you want to join us on there. If you want to see my previous hair dye jobs, or you want to see how this green looks in different stages, then my Instagram is the best place to be, because you're going to see how hair colors have like toned down or faded over time or got brighter, or how I've adapted them a little bit. And I've got all of my like hair dye, hair color history on that page basically. So feel free to follow me on there if you wish. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you for my next one. Bye bye.